Nothing like a cup of Tim Hortons in the morning. Well, I'm Dave Tubman, the author of Jimmy Hoffa's Missing the Gap, published in 2020 and 2022, an update. I'm going to be doing a follow-up for 2025, which happens to be the 50-year anniversary of Hoffa's disappearance. But my trip to Detroit for 2024 is July 22nd, this month, to the 28th, and that's a Monday through a Sunday. Some of the key events are I'm going to be visiting my sister Helen and her family. You'll know her from page 68 and 69 of the 2022 version of the book. And other points of the trip are meeting up with some friends and fellow researchers. Some you know, some you may not. And I've known a few of you over the last 4 years, but never had the opportunity to meet you in person. I have met a few, but I'll try to make time to see anybody that does want to meet me. And we'll shake hands and get to know the people behind the comments and postings. But private message me here so I can make sure to make time to see you. Otherwise, make it to the Sunday group chat and drive, which I'll talk about in a second. Teamster Local 299 Union Hall is at Michigan and Trumbull, and I want to make sure I get there. I want to see Jimmy Hoffa's office as it's preserved, just like it was when he was president of the Teamsters. And unfortunately, a friend of mine from Philadelphia who I've met on phone calls and through Facebook, but I was going to take this opportunity to meet him in person, and we were both going to go to the Union Hall. His first name is Andrew. He may have come sick. I haven't heard from him in a while, but it doesn't sound like he's going to be there. I would hope he would. He was really looking forward to it. But I'll be there. I'm going to tread lightly on the book while I'm there, though. I'm not there to promote the book. I just want to see Hoffa's digs. And some of the same people, or the sons of some of the same people, are there now. Of course, you know Chucky O'Brien was a Teamster, so that's why I'm going to tread lightly on the book topics. Not sure what my reception would be in that regard. I want to also stop and see the new recycling center that's on the very same location that Central Sanitation was in Hamtramck. Of course, that building was demolished. A new one's up and running as a recycling center. I don't believe it's affiliated or associated with the original owners of Central. It doesn't appear to be. I'm going to ask that they kind of outline their process of recycling materials to better understand just how they would have received anything that was brought into the center. And then I'm going to culminate the trip. My last day in Detroit will be on Sunday, July 28th. The key part of that will be kind of a group chat, question and answer period, where everybody's welcome to join me. And it's the precise time that Hoffa was waiting for his ride to show up, from 2 o'clock to 2:45. I'll be there early. I'll be there at 1:30. So if anybody wants to come and meet me and shake hands and even pick up a signed book or a mug, I'll have those on hand. I'll be there at 1:30. And that's at the Red Fox, or Andiamo's, which is shown behind me. That's located at Telegraph at the intersection, just south of the intersection of 15 Mile in Bloomfield, and which is the same as Maple Road. So I'll be there parked approximately where Hoffa's car was parked, in the north part of the parking lot to the right of this building. And I'll put my tailgate down so you recognize me. I'll be in a kind of a burgundy maroon Ranger pickup truck. And I'll do kind of a tailgate session with question and answer and any books that people might want to pick up. So come early and you can pose your question or comments between 1:30 and 2. And then we'll start targeting the events that happened while Hoffa was anxiously awaiting his ride to show up for the meeting. From 2 to 2:45, we'll talk about what Hoffa was doing. He went inside at the main entrance right here, where this view shows the north parking lot, actually, where his car was found. But he went in the main entrance, talked to a waitress and a hostess briefly, looking for the people that he was supposed to meet up with. Then he went behind over there to Damon Hardware, where there was a phone on a column, public phone, where he called his wife at 2:15, told Josephine that they didn't show up. He was angry, cussing, and while he was back there, he also called Louis Linto. And of course, you know, he stopped at Louis Linto's place of business, which is the limousine service in Pontiac, hoping he would join him to the meeting, but he was nowhere to be found, out to lunch or something when he showed up. So he continued on and showed up at 2 o'clock here sharp. But at 2:35, according to the Michigan Bell telephone records, he called Louis Linto and complained that his partners didn't show up. Where were they? And anyway, that was the last phone call he made. Then he made his way back up to the front, and somewhere between the back and the front, apparently the Mercury pulled up. People saw Chucky O'Brien, identified him as the driver when shown pictures. Hoffa was seen getting into the back seat behind the driver of the maroon Mercury, and the delivery truck driver pulled in that service entrance, which is the other side of this canopy, and had to come to an abrupt stop because he would have hit the Mercury had he not stopped quickly. It was kind of erratically leaving. Maybe there was a commotion already brewing with Hoffa, but the delivery truck driver talked about identifying Hoffa. He didn't know the other 3 men, the driver or the other 2 to the right of the driver and Hoffa. He did spot a shotgun underneath a gray blanket, or at least the muzzle appeared to be a shotgun. And Hoffa was making hand gestures and seemed upset with the driver. Then he also saw the car continue out that service drive entrance back there and turn south, turn right on Telegraph Road. That's where the Tubmans picked up what they saw. Ironically, the FBI mentioned in the Hoffa's memo later that they wish there were more eyewitnesses that saw the car after it had left, but my parents never went forward. But so join me, and at 2:45 we're going to take off, either myself or whoever wants to join me. Wish we could have restaged the event like Eric Shawn originally planned to before he ran into his interview with Gabe Bergoglio last April. But we met and talked about what my parents saw, and he did include that in his episode 6 of his Riddle, the Search for James R. Hoffa docuseries. So I'm grateful for that. I don't blame him for focusing on Gabe Bergoglio's interview. That was the biggie. But anyway, he did allow me to tell a brief story, not all the research that I did. But he was going to actually have a Mercury. We were going to redo the drive from the Macca's Red Fox to the Raleigh House. He kind of buys into the story, but you know, there's other perspectives out there that have gained more recognition, and that's fine. I don't have money to promote this, but anyway, you're welcome to form your own conclusions. So at 2:45, either myself or whoever can join me, we will kind of redo that drive that Hoffa took. It's a 5-mile drive. It takes between 8 and 12 minutes, depending on traffic and the signals along the way. But going from 15 mile to 10 mile, obviously it's 5 miles. That's where the Raleigh House was located, and you'll be able to see where the Mercury went behind that building and parked, sticking out 2/3 of the way behind the southeast corner of the Raleigh House. Happens to be where the huge kitchen was located and the door that goes into that kitchen, and also be able to stand in that spot, which is also where the garbage truck was parked waiting for the Mercury to arrive. Apparently it was just within feet or yards of the Mercury where it came to stand. And we'll look back at Telegraph, the number 4 lane, and you'll be able to clearly pick out the people that are driving the cars as they're approaching that traffic signal from standing in that southeast corner behind the Raleigh Centre now. But it is laid out about the same as what the Raleigh House was, and you'll be able to stand there and look back. You'll be able to kind of pick out the people, the drivers, and that's why at that time my parents were really curious why this driver and the 2 men were of commotion in the back seat, and they were just really intently looking back at this southeast corner. So it'll be an eye-opener for people that don't quite get the feel for what was seen that afternoon by the Tubmans. You know, if anyone wants to volunteer to play a role or help me produce something in the way of pictures or a video, private message me as soon as possible. And maybe we can do what Eric Shawn wasn't able to do back then and recreate that drive and what the Tubmans saw during a 5-mile drive. the Mercury was just the very next lane, so we're talking about a couple of feet distance between my mom and Chucky O'Brien and the two men in the back seat. So it's sometimes hard to envision what she actually saw and just how close they were during that time. Anyway, if you're interested in doing that, private message me, and maybe we'll put something together. Do a stand-in for the Mercury. It doesn't have to be a maroon Mercury. It can be any kind of car, just so we get a reference point. So you're welcome to join me. I hope to have a fruitful trip and meet anybody that's able and willing to meet me. Have a great Facebook day or YouTube, wherever you're watching us.